Hi YouTube, I'm Krishna at Inspire. If you're someone who doesn't want to spend a ton of money, you don't want to compromise on quality, want amazing colors, and will be updated with latest technology all the time, I have something special for you. I was always curious about Panasonic Lumix cameras. Amazing color, class-leading stabilization, value for money, and most importantly, a brand that gave frequent software updates for their consumers. But Panasonic cameras always lacks the most important feature for video guys like me, autofocus. Trust me, without quality autofocus, a mid-range camera is as good as dead. I've been a Sony shooter for the last many years, starting from A7 III, A7 R4, and A7 S3. But things have changed. Panasonic has finally come out with a beast of a video-centric mirrorless camera with an updated 779 face detection autofocus capability, comparable to Sony and Canon in the market. Yes, we are talking about Lumix X52 and S52X with all the X factors in it. The Lumix X52X has a monochromatic gorgeous design with a 24 megapixel full frame sensor. It can record 10-bit up to 6K resolution at 30 frames in 420 with 3:2 aspect ratio. The new sensor, as per Panasonic, gives 14 plus stops of dynamic range when shooting in V-Log with full sensor readout. Autofocus capabilities with an adaptive lens system is amazing. The Sigma MC21 adapter is a killer combo for Lumix cameras to adapt EOS lenses. Adapted vintage lens works like a breeze if you're looking for cinematic images with film-like character. I'm doing an in-depth video on adapting vintage lenses on the X52X. It cuts down the cost of buying lenses considerably while adapting vintage lens. Please subscribe for notification. The already amazing image stabilization is boosted to a different level with the active hybrid technology, 5-axis sensor shift to be precise. It's as good as the Panasonic GH6 Micro Four Thirds camera, despite being a full-frame camera. There is a new active cooling system on top of the camera. This is a huge improvement over its predecessor, which had a 30-minute record limit. The new camera also gives you the option of real-time LUT loader. That means you can bake in a desired LUT at the time of recording, excellent for run-and-gun situations. In addition to the V-Log, S52X has a bunch of picture profiles to choose from: natural, vivid, standard, normal, etc. Under the S&Q mode, slow motion options up to 180 frames is available with compromises. But the sweet spot is 120 frames per second, as autofocus is still available. The X52X has a dual native sensor placed at ISO 640 and 4000 respectively, with excellent low light performance up to 6400 ISO. 8000 is the upper limit for decent images, and 12800 is my personal limit. Unlike the older S5, there are two slots for UHS 2 cards. Once SD card is inserted, the possible options are highlighted and all other options are grayed out. A very handy feature, as there are tons of recording options available. Recording larger data formats internally requires faster V90 SD cards, and trust me, V90 SD cards are expensive. One of the biggest updates is the ability to record directly to an external SSD via the USB-C port. In addition, S52X has full-sized HDMI port, unlike its predecessor S5. A very welcome update, in fact. HDMI port has raw output capability. Both B-RAW and ProRes RAW can be recorded, and it's a killer option. ProRes can be recorded externally via Atomos Ninja 5, 5 Plus or Shotgun, and B-RAW via Blackmagic Video Assist 5 or 7-inch. The camera has 12-bit output capability of 5K resolution in full frame at 30 frames per second. Recording directly to an external SSD is a real game changer. You can edit directly on the SSD for run-and-gun situations. Tilsa, Contour Blue, and SmallRig has different solutions for SSD mounts. There are two different types of compression formats used for recording: long GOP and all-intra. Rather than going to the nerdy route with complicated terms, let's try to understand the practical use of both these options. Long GOP is better if the project does not demand higher quality, like a long interview, YouTube videos, etc. In long GOP, you have H.265 and H.264 options. H.265 is a better option, as it provides better playback during post-production at the cost of higher computing power. For projects that demand better quality, all-intra is the best option. All-intra has minimal compression and requires larger SSD space, almost double the space requirements of long GOP. S5X can stream wirelessly and also can be used as a webcam. The battery provided is BLK22, same as the older S5 camera, and the runtime is approximately 2 hours for 4K recording at 24 frames per second. External charging is possible via USB-C port. The audio side has drastic improvement over the older S5. It's still compatible with the Panasonic XLR adapter. A 3.5mm input is common and we have two different gain options provided. The button layout is simple and convenient. The Q button allows quick reach of menus and can store functions for easy access in a fly. Panasonic has finally given a 3-inch flip-out screen and a huge update over the older version. There is a resolution bump on the viewfinder with a 3.6 million dot count as opposed to the 2.26 million dot count of the S5 version. Now, what are the cons of this camera? Not many to consider, but there are a few. Due to the monochromatic design, under dark conditions, the buttons are not clearly visible. That's a huge flaw. There is a 30-minute record time limit on the 5.9 and 6K modes. Mounting SSDs are not easy at all. When you're outputting RAW externally, there is no internal recording possible. Rolling shutter is one of its weaknesses and a major one. 4K 60 crop is a deal breaker for someone who shoots a lot of slow motion videos. Panasonic lens range is not wide enough to suffice the capabilities of this camera. Now to the million-dollar question. Who is this camera meant for? This is a dream camera for content creators. OpenGate 3.2 format is revolutionary. You can crop the video to your choice for social media like vertical videos or any other format of your choice. Shutter angle is an amazing feature. No need to worry about the frame rates while shooting. To sum it up, the Panasonic Lumix S52X is a revolutionary camera which is future-proof. It has professional exposing and monitoring tools like waveform, vector scope, SSD recording options, budget-friendly and autofocusing capabilities comparable to the best in the industry. In fact, cameras twice the price doesn't have these professional features inbuilt. Personally, I'm switching to Panasonic and bought a brand new S52X from PhotoCircle, my go-to photo store for the last many years. I will keep updating on my experience with this fantastic camera. Panasonic delivers what it promises. Thanks for watching and peace.